Hi everyone, welcome back to Excel Baby Steps. In this video, we are going to learn about Excel formulas. We will learn what a formula is, and we will also learn how to write simple formulas like an if formula, a sum formula, and a count if and sum if formula. These are some of my favorite formulas, as well as these are some of the most frequently used formulas in Excel. Okay, so let us get started. Remember our expense tracker worksheet that we have been building in the last few lessons. So this is how it looks like so far, and what we want to do is we want to write some formulas on this worksheet and simultaneously learn how to do it. Okay, so before even getting started, I think it's important to spend a half minute or a minute trying to understand what a formula is. Okay, a formula is just like what you would have learned in any other mathematical courses that we have done in back in school. For example, let me just use the pencil marker to write a simple formula for summing two numbers. So let us say you have two numbers a and b, and the formula for summing up both numbers is, let us say we want to call the result as total. So total equal to a plus b. Okay, so that's what a formula for sum of two values a b is. Now this is ridiculously simple, right? And if you remove all these a, b and total kind of variables, what it turns out to be is, for example, a contains the money you spent on rent in this month, so that's 2,700, and b is, let us say, the money we spent on groceries, and that's probably 3,000. So the sum of both will be 5,700. And how do we arrive at it? By adding 2,700 to 3,000. Nothing really fancy. The same applies to Excel as well, but Excel formulas are much more intricate and they can do a lot more fun things than just adding a bunch of numbers. So now what we do is we'll try to learn how you can write a formula like a plus b in Excel. I'll just get rid of that, and here let us say you want to add up 2,700 to, sorry for that, 3,000. So look what I have done. We did not put something like total equal to 2,700 plus 3,000. Instead I just wrote equal to, because I know that I want the result to be displayed in that cell. Currently we are in G3 and the result will come there. So when you press enter, you get the output as 5,700. Okay, so that's what a simple formula is. Now that's no fun, right? Adding two numbers. So let us do something. Let us take all the numbers in column E, that is from E3 through E18, where the numbers are, and add them up and show the entire sum, that is the money, total money, how much we have spent so far in this expense tracker. I just deleted that cell by selecting and deleting it, and here now we are writing a formula called, now the simplest thing to do would be, just as we are writing 2,300 or 2,700, you can also use a cell reference. For example, the address of this cell is E3. So I could either write 2,700 or I can write E3. And writing E3 is a bit smarter, because sometime in future if you change the value in E3, it will automatically update. That's what the beauty of formulas is. So we can say E3 plus E4 plus E5, like that. But that will take you forever. So a better formula is write sum of, open bracket, and select E3 through E18. Okay, you can select all the contiguous ranges of cells using Control Shift key or Control down arrow key. Okay, and that is what the formula is, sum of E3 through E18. And when you press enter, Excel will tell you what the total sum is. There are a couple more ways in which you can find the sum. For example, you can select all the values and look at the status bar here, and Excel will tell you that the sum is 13,671. It also tells you some other interesting statistics. For example, average is 854. There are total 16 entries in the record. Minimum is 150 and maximum is 2,700. And as you can guess, there are formulas for all these things. For example, if you want to find average, you can just write average and mention E3 through E18 and press enter, and the result comes up there. So that is how you can write a simple formula. Now I don't want to spend any more time because I know you are going to learn these things very faster. So what I am going to do now is I want to write a simple formula here in this column to test whether an expense is above 1500 or not. Why do I want to test that? Because my wife is interested to know which are the places where we are spending more than 1500 and find ways to reduce it, or at least know where money is going. So here I am just writing, is it greater than 1500, and we will use a formula called as if formula. First let me write the formula, then I will explain it to you. If E3 greater than 1500, yes. Okay, so what I have done is I have written an if formula that goes something like this: if open bracket close bracket. Any formula in Excel other than the simple arithmetic operators like plus minus, you have to use opening brackets and closing brackets to indicate that that is a formula, and obviously it should start with an equal to symbol. Then what we are doing is we are testing a condition that whether the value in E3 is greater than 1500. If it is so, then we display the value S, otherwise no. Since S and no are text values, we have to put them in double quotes. Okay, so when you press enter, it says S. Now let us say I change the value in E3 to 1200. Instantly this value becomes no because the formula is no longer correct, so it readjusts itself. I'm just going to undo this with Ctrl Z. Now that I know this expense is more than 1500, I wanted to know about the other ones. So the simple way you can fill this is select the cell, and you see this thick black rectangle around it, right? Hold this bottom, go to the bottom corner, bottom right corner, and you see this plus symbol, and just drag it all the way, and automatically Excel calculates the formulas for you, and it adjusts the cell references. For example, here the cell reference is E3. If you come to here, it is automatically to E8. So Excel automatically adjusted this. This is called as relative referencing. Okay, nothing fancy, but you can figure out these things as you move along. So is it 1500, greater than 1500, and you see that there are a couple of expenses more than 1500. One is on milk and one is on rent. And since we have small babies at home, we have to spend a lot of money on milk, so there's nothing we can do about it. We just wait them to grow. Okay, so now that we have written if formula and sum formula and maybe average formula, it's time to see some of the other complicated formulas in Excel. One of my favorite formulas is called as COUNTIF, and what this formula does is it tells you the count of all the values in a range that meet a certain condition. But even before using it, I think it's appropriate to learn about the count formula itself. There is a formula called count, and what it does is it counts all the numbers in a range. So if I say from E3 to E18 how many numbers are there? There are 16. But if I say count of F3 to F18, since there are no numbers in this range, all of them, it comes up to 0. But let us say you want to count the values, not just numbers, any value. Then you can use the formula count A, and it counts all the values. Okay, so that's what it is. And now that we know there are 16 items, let us say I'm a little curious and I wanted to know how many items are having an exact value of 150. Okay, so I use the formula COUNTIF. It's like if formula, but it is used for counting. Okay, so in this range, give me the count of all the values that have 150, and there are two entries with 150. Here is one and here is one. Okay, let us say I change this 800 to 150 and the formula adjusts automatically. So I'll just undo that. So that's what COUNTIF does. But you can use COUNTIF in a different way. For example, you can find out how many values are more than 1000. Okay, for that what you do is you use the greater than symbol and then type the number 1000 and close the double quotes. Since you're using greater than symbol, you have to put everything in double quotes. That's how Excel works. And then you press enter, and there are 5 values more than 1000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's how COUNTIF works. It's one of my favorite formulas. Similarly, there is a formula called as SUMIF. What it does is it sums the values that meet a certain condition. For example, here we can just change this COUNTIF to SUMIF, and it tells you the sum of all the values that are greater than 1000. So 8,510 rupees is spent on items that are more than 1000. So these are very simple basic Excel formulas. There are so much more to Excel formulas that covering all of it in 10 minutes is almost impossible. You could take 10 minutes to just list down the names of formulas that are available in Excel. If you are using Excel 2007, you can go to Formula tab and you can see some of the buttons. For example, here is a button called Insert Function. What it does is it will help you write a formula. It's much more nicer interface, and what it does is it will take care of, in the SUMIF criteria, we will tell you ask you which range you have to use and the criteria itself. And then optional parameters are not shown as bold and things like that. You can also use recently used and financial, logical, text, date, time, other types of formulas, and you can do some kind of debugging of formulas, which is a tricky concept, so I'm not getting into that. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson, and I hope this lesson gave you enough encouragement to play with Excel formulas. Excel formulas are really powerful and they help you a lot to become much more productive and automate your work. I will see you in the next Excel baby steps video. Have a good time. Bye bye.